While India has done well in terms of chip design and electronics manufacturing, there has been challenges in setting up semiconductor wafer fabrication or FAB unit for a long time. The digital age has propelled the world into consuming electronics at an unprecedented scale. There will be worldwide shipment of devices, PCs, tablets and mobile phones totaling 2.2 billion units in 2019. All of these gadgets require semiconductor chips to function, and it is clear that economies with a large production of these chips have benefited the most in terms of enhancing their GDP. US, Japan, Korea, China, Singapore, etc. are all large producers of semiconductor chips and also have a strong foothold on global economy. So where does India stand? While India has done well in terms of chip design and electronics manufacturing, there has been challenges in setting up semiconductor wafer fabrication units in India for a long time. This is due to multiple factors, including not just the lack of infrastructure and skilled labor in the country. It is also difficult to compete with neighboring countries like China and Vietnam, which has been favorite destination for global chip manufacturers due to better cost efficiency. It is for these reasons that Intel clearly stated in 2015 that it has no interest whatsoever in manufacturing in India. There have been attempts to set up semiconductor fab units here by private companies in the country. Hindustan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company HSMC, a consortium of companies that included ST Microelectronics and Siletra Malaysia, was aiming to kickstart chip manufacturing plant in Gujarat, a project worth 30,000 crores. The government in 2019 cancelled the letter of intent granted to HSMC, and now there is no such proposal for any private company to initiate such a project. The reason was that the consortium could not submit the required document asked by the government to setting up semiconductor wafer fabrication unit. HSMC has been backed by AMD and had also received 700 crore in funding from Mumbai-based Next Orbit Ventures. Then there was another consortium led by Jayaprakash Associates, which partnered with IBM and Tower Semiconductor of Israel to start chip manufacturing in UP. In 2016, debt-ridden Jayaprakash Associates had pulled out of 34,000 crores. If the only two private sector consortium cleared by government to establish large-scale chip manufacturing in the country could not make it happen, then it's certainly a bad indicator to why India is lagging behind the space. So what are the hurdles? One of the biggest hurdles in setting up fab manufacturing units is the fact that it requires massive investments. In addition to huge cost running in billions of dollars, manufacturing even a single chip required hundreds of gallons of pure water, which may be also hard to find in India in the required quantities. An uninterrupted power supply is another major hurdle. The heart of the issue is that India is still not up to the par in terms of basic infrastructure needed to pursue endeavors in the chip manufacturing space. There is also constant price pressure from the global partners, particularly China, which is also building a homegrown chip program for adoption of local semiconductors in 70% of its products by 2025. It's not like India does not possess the scientific capabilities to manufacture semiconductor chips. In fact, the level of technical know-how is so high that the government even considered 2,500 crore feasible study based on gallium nitride semiconductor fab at Indian School of Sciences. In order to build a local semiconductor industry, gallium nitride based semiconductor chips are different than silicon based fabs, which currently dominates the market and majorly produced by USA and China. The government planned to disrupt the industry and create its own different kind of fab. While large-scale semiconductor manufacturers face challenges to take off, several startups building chips for embedded systems like IoT and telephony on a much smaller scale are also disrupting the scene. There are many prominent startups here like Signal Chip, a semiconductor company also based in Bangalore, which rolled out 4G and 5G modern chips. Sankhya Labs is another Bengaluru-based startup that has been creating chipset for use in defense, satellite communication and broadcast. Another one is microprocessor called Shakti, developed at IIT Madras which can be used in mobile computing devices, embedded low power wireless systems, and smartphone surveillance camera and networking systems. Clearly, there's no lack of talent when it comes to India becoming a dominant player in semiconductor chip manufacturing. Yet, the country has struggled to find a way to establish fab units needed for large scale manufacturing. Now, with the rising demand for electronics, India is a large net importer of semiconductor chips. In fact, experts say that India is spending more money on import of semiconductors than on oil. The way to reduce the dependency on chips import is to create semiconductor manufacturing units within the country. Here, the government needs to make sure that there is proper infrastructure and investment are made so the scalable manufacturing units can be created. We also need to look at the success story of China in semiconductor manufacturing industry and take some lessons.